Thank you for taking the time out to sit down and chat with me. So I suppose the first question is, who are you, and sort of why are you here? What's the topic? Yeah.
All right. um, Hi, I'm Tyler Tafoya. I'm the writer and creator of a brand new musical song cycle called Seasons. And I'm also the writer and creator of another musical called Scott Robbins and the Traveling Show. And we have both those shows over social media. And Seasons right now is a concept album that is streaming on Spotify and iTunes and anywhere you stream your music. That's me.
So how did you get into songwriting? Writing the musical? How did that happen?
Yeah, so I went to AMDA College and Conservatory in Los Angeles, and I was going there. I was getting my BFA in musical theater, and they have a student-led program called Student Vision, which is you can workshop new musicals, whether it be 15 minutes or for full things, and there's a board of staff and teachers at the school who help you, create your show, help critique it, and help make it better, and you eventually perform it. But you have to go through a pitching process and to get it up and stuff. So I had this idea for a show called Scott Robbins. Originally, it was going to be, I wasn't sure if it was going to be a short story or a play or a movie or whatever. I just had this idea for all these characters and this story in this world. So I heard this program, and I'm like, I wanted to, make a name for myself at college. I wanted to, kind of put myself out there because performing arts college, there's a lot of guys who look like me.
Yeah.
How can I, stand out, especially when I get out into the industry? Because a lot of the teachers there were, working professionals, working in the industry, working in the business. So I was like, how do I, and at that point Hamilton came out, and I was like, I might as well just I might as well write this. I might as well just go for it. Originally I was just going to do the book. I pulling friends, pulling people. I'm like, hey, can you do the lyrics? Hey, can you do the music? Had partners, had co-writers who ended up, falling out and stuff like that. And I'm not, classically, I never played piano growing up, and I got to a point where I'm like, I got to do this. I guess it's up to me. All right, let's go. So I ended up finishing all of the music in a year till my senior year, and I was able to pitch the show and put it up. So that's how I got into it, just kind of because I was the last one left. And I was like, I love this story. I love these characters. I'm the only person who is going to be able to, get this out there. And there's some sort of, metaphor or message in there somewhere. Of just, you're going to be the one who's got to, at the end of the day, you're going to be the one pushing your, new content, your new stories. So I just kind of fell into my arms to just, do this. So that's how and then I fell in love with it. So that's how that happened.
How did you get from there then to Seasons? Where did that idea come from?
Yeah. So, I graduated college. I was pitching the show Scott Robbins to a bunch of different theaters. We did it in New York and LA and a bunch of places. It got to a point where I wanted to do something a little more stripped back because Scott Robbins, that was a bigger show. That was, bigger cast, bigger, music and stuff like that. So I wanted to do something a little more stripped down with 6 people, could do it with a band and no big sets. And kind of I was getting really into sound cycles at that time, was listening to a lot of Jason Robert Brown and discovered Edges by Pasek and Paul. So kind of loved the idea of like having a non, having a narrative through just the songs and having it be a little, vague so people can fill in the gaps themselves and stuff. So I made it really simple. I made it 6 cast members, made it a band. And I was starting to really start thinking about the seasons of your life and thinking about, how quickly things can change within the span of like, for me, it was like 6 years since after college. I was like, oh, okay, that, my life now is totally different than it was then. So that's where the premise of it. And I was thinking of, milestone seasons in a person's life, like, college, marriage, kids, divorce, and all of those big milestone moments in a person's life. And I was like, okay, that's going to be the premise of these songs. I'm going to, these are going to be one of the songs will be about, your first crush falling in love. This is going to be about, your first time at school, or, it was all these ideas of just like your firsts, essentially. So we were going to perform it earlier this year. That didn't happen because of everything. So it got to a point where I'm like, I want to at least, get this music out there. I want to get the story out there. So I was like, let's make it a concept album, and let's get, some fun artists on there, some Broadway friends, and just, still get the story out there, because, Broadway is closed. The theater community is trying to find a place in its home right now. So what better way than to like get some new content, some new stories out there. So it's now streaming on Spotify. So, and we got some fun people like Mariah Rose Faith and Desley Oakley and some fun Broadway friends on there. So it just came from that. Just like, how am I going to, this with this season of my life, how can I, make the best of this time? How can I use this time that, I have now to the best of my potential, the best of my abilities? Because, I have a lot of friends right now who aren't doing much. Let's, let's get them working on some stuff. So that's where that comes from.
I think the thing that I really enjoyed about it is just it's so relatable. I know obviously the stripped backness is due to the situations we're in, but it was so accessible, even like vocally. Obviously the vocals are incredible, but there's nothing that you relate a lot more to it, because it's kind of that stripped back and honest look. I think that's fantastic. So obviously credits to you. So you sort of touched on the story of the show, but why would someone want to see the show? What is it in there that they go, is there characters that lots of people relate to? Is it,
I think, especially right now, for me and my, the state that I am in right now, I am looking back and thinking about moments and how, things would be different if I had only done this, or had only gone this place, or, why, thinking about the own seasons of my life and remembering fun moments and wishing, you could go back and relive stuff and all the, the obvious stuff of like living out your quote unquote glory days, or, but it's what I've learned throughout my, throughout this year and throughout my time writing this, it's just, and even before this, and the reason I wanted to write it is just the fact that like, I came to the conclusion that like change is good. Change is a great and awesome part of your life. And it's kind of the we've been telling this kind of story since Peter Pan, where it's like, we don't want to give up what we have right now. We don't want to give up these fun and amazing moments of our life, but it could be leading us to something even better and even bigger change. And it's like, it's just a reminder to everyone that change is going to happen whether you want it to or not. We don't have a lot of control over a lot of things that happen in our lives like that, but we do have the control of, our effort, our attitude, how we take this moment now. Where do we go with it? There's the song at the end of the show, where do we go from here? It's like, now that all is said and done, we have the choice to, do something with it. Same with this, this year, 2020. It's like, what do we do with our time while we're here on earth? What do we do with this, weird circumstance that we've been given? What do we do with like, considering everything? How are we going to, use it to the best of our abilities? We can obviously wish that things were different, and we can wish that, things didn't go that way. We're all thinking that. But now that it's happened, we can't go back. We can't change it. So where do we take it? Where do we go from here?
Yeah. Wow. That's incredibly, I mean, I don't want to throw around the word inspirational, but obviously looking at what we're in right now, and you can't change what's going on, but what you can
Mhm.
change is your attitude and how you're going through it. So yeah, that is very strong words.
Thank
I've read online that this fundraising element to the playlist, to the soundtrack.
What was that one more time? I think you
There's
cut out.
a there's a there's there's a fundraising element to it. There's supporting two very important causes.
Yes, yes, yes. So we're the proceeds for the concept album is going to Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS, and Feeding America. And that was just my way of, trying to give back to, everything that's going on right now, because people need help and Broadway needs help right now. Um, that's my the theater community is my home. It's the
Yeah,
place that I grew up in doing theater, and it's it's the place that I was inspired to have a career in, and the idea of not having that right now is really sucky,
yeah,
to put it bluntly. But yeah, and I'm just one sole person with a megaphone in a soapbox right now, trying
yeah,
to help the theater community during all of this, which we all have, stuff to be upset about and trying to help and fix and save. But for me, it's like, this is my whole world. So, and there was a quote, I don't remember who said it, but someone said, I may be one, but I am still one. And since I am one, I can still, I'm going to do everything one can.
yeah.
So it's just my little way of trying to help the communities that have helped me over the years. So.
And you touched on a little bit, but why did you select those charities in particular? Um, were they poignant to you? Were they, obviously you say they're really important to you, obviously, as a performer. But yeah, why those two? That's all right.
Just you look at their track record, they have done amazing work over the years. Those were like when I thought of the like go-to ones to
Yeah.
what would I go to? It's like Feeding America. Obviously, they have helped thousands, millions of people. And then Broadway Cares, because you look at the the people with on the front lights with the buckets and everything that are at every Broadway show, every tour, every situation. They're always the ones to help first, and it's like, of course, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
So yeah, those are my go-tos.
Yeah. So imagining in a non lockdown pandemic, what is next for the show? What stage is the show currently in? And what's next?
So as of now, I've talked to cast members here and there. We obviously want to do something. I'm currently in San Diego, so I'm California. I lived in California and in LA, and I've been all over the place. So we want to do something, a live performance at some point once it's safe,
Yes.
once everything is, it's back to normal. And we just want the biggest thing right now is just to continue to get the word out there, because the more people hear about it, the more interest there is, because theater is very expensive. So if we can just continue to get the word out about the show and what I'm doing and all that kind of stuff, it just makes it easier to put this kind of stuff out there. Because as a lot of us know, the last few, there hasn't been a lot of original shows coming out in the Broadway or West End in the last 5-10 years. There's been some here and there, but this last year of Broadway, before everything closed down, there wasn't anything original that didn't come from a movie, a well-known artist, an album. It was just all, it's all stuff that we know and love, which is, that's all really great. But I want to continue to still push new original stories, because as humans, we're storytellers.
Yeah.
We live for this kind of stuff. And if we're just telling the same stories that we've heard for the last 10 years over and over again, it's just going to be harder when when we run out of stories.
So you touched on creating a buzz for the show. Where can people stay up to date with the show? How can they find you? How can they see what's going on? You and the show, obviously.
So we I mean, we got the word out essentially from just our Instagram, which is just Seasons Musical, at Seasons Musical. And the album is still up to purchase right now. The proceeds go to the charities, like you said. That is Seasons Musical at bandcamp.com. So, and I'll give you the information put in this later. But yeah, that's our website that, you know, you can stream on Spotify and iTunes, but the biggest place to purchase, you know, the album as it is right now is our Bandcamp website, which is seasonsmusical at bandcamp.com. And we're hoping to, you know, do a lot of, you know, bigger stuff, hopefully within, you know, this next year of 2021. But, you know, as of now, like I said, this is everything that we could do within, you know, our current climate and, you know, everything right now. Me just being me, you know, I've been running our social media and doing the show and producing the album, and, you know, it's a one-man deal right now, which has been fun, and, you know, I've learned a lot, but it's nice to have a team.
No. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for sitting down. Like I said, it's available on wherever you get your music. I listen to it on Spotify, but obviously there are other sites available. But yeah, thank you so much for sitting down and chatting with me, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. You have a good day too.
Thank you very much.